thought I'd do a different video, talking about topics that, you know, kind of pique my interest, but for either the right or wrong reasons. One of the topics I wanted to talk about, since of course I work a job that involves this, tipping. Um, you know, Tipping has definitely gotten out of hand, I feel, because nowadays almost everywhere I go, I'm expecting to see a tip screen. And it's not like I don't tip. Usually I do. Um, I don't tip if, for example, I'm just buying an item and I scan it. I'm not. What am I tipping for? You know, if I go to a restaurant, obviously I'm going to tip the server because of the service that they give us. And if I go to a coffee shop or a bar, yeah, I'm going to tip my bartender or barista because they know what they're doing when it comes to making drinks. Plus that, and usually the baristas are pretty knowledgeable whenever I ask them about coffee. So, they have passion behind it. Maybe not all of them, but at least a chunk of them that I've met who work these coffee shops are pretty passionate about coffee. And that's okay. Hey, I like coffee too. So, hey, I'm glad that they're passionate about it so they can teach my dumbass how to actually make a good cup of coffee. But yeah, then there's just tipping for things that are just superfluous. Things that you don't even really need. Checkouts or tipping on online orders. I get if you're gonna tip. Well, I say I would. Sorry, losing my train of thought. I'd also say tip. Your drivers as well because they don't get paid much, and I know that sucks to hear, and I know it sucks to pass the buck on to the consumer, but they're providing a service that is higher quality. You're getting food delivered to you. You don't have to get up and go get your food. You don't even have to make it. It's literally just you sit down, you wait for the cooked food to come to you, and bam. It's also contributing to America's weight problem, the obesity epidemic. But then again, that's a global issue. That's not just to this country as well. A little aside, I used to be fat in high school. I was about a few inches shorter, so like around 5'7", and I was actually 10 pounds heavier than I am now. So I was fat. I was like 183, 185, just chunky. And, I think it was, senior year I lost a good chunk of the weight because I grew the extra few inches and I just didn't need the baby fat anymore. My appetite was suppressed or came to like a normal level for me once I stopped growing. And then I worked at McDonald's, and then I got fat again. I went from like 134 to probably 165, and yeah, I had man boobs, like tiny little man boobs. And one day it was just a coworker making a joke, like a lighthearted joke about my weight to me, that kind of made me realize I don't want to look like this for the rest of my life, and it sucks looking like this. Well, not this now, but like it sucked looking fat. So I just stopped eating as much McDonald's. I slowly weaned off the food. I would order a little bit less each time. I would take, goddamn, my voice. I would take a few items off each, sandwich or burrito I would have, and slowly reduce the consumption down to maybe like a hamburger, or maybe a breakfast taco or breakfast burrito. Sorry. So anyway, a little aside. But I think I'm gonna stop tipping as much, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean, usually I tip a lot. Like I tip around minimum 20% if it's like something small-ish, to like 30 to 40% if like my meal is over, the 120 range. I would say, like whatever I go out and buy, if it's over 120 bucks, like if I go out to dinner and it's a nice place and we spend like 120 bucks or over 120 bucks, then yeah, that would be like a 30-40% tip right there, because they're doing a lot to feed me. So But yeah, I think I'm just going to reduce the tipping and not tip on, things that don't really require it. You know, things that you mainly do all the work. Like picking up an item and checking it out. And then, they ask you for a tip. Like, what am I tipping for? So I understand people's frustrations, and I don't really get mad when people don't tip me either, or don't tip online. Um, because the reality of the situation is it all comes down to your employer. I should be mad at my employer for paying $10 an hour in 2024 with and paying that towards a person who has a couple college degrees and not just simple college degrees like quantitative degrees. So I can run numbers, I can do things. That was a shitty statement, but sorry. Sometimes I speak and then all of a sudden I just realize what I had said. It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense or just sounds bad. Not in an emotional sense, more of just I guess in the sense of being clear. So anyway, I thought I would just talk about tipping because I'm kind of getting tired of seeing it, and I'm really getting exhausted tipping all the time, like tipping 25+%. I mean, granted, usually most places where I go and buy things like coffee, it's usually like $5 to $6 a cup of coffee, and I'll just tip $1. So not a ton, but it's a little something. But to those of you out there who are thinking tipping is getting worse, no, it is getting worse, and I don't blame you if you don't tip. But just know that you should still be treating your customer service workers with respect, because either way they're not making much at all. So even if you don't tip, don't be a dick. That's the only thing I can say. Like, if I don't tip, I'm not going to be a dick, because I know their job sucks because I used to work it as well. And I still actually kind of work it. I do want to, once I get a car, I'm going to try and see if I can work at a diner that's up the street because I actually liked it. I was fine with it. I didn't need to run numbers all the time or worry about stupid KPIs or reports. It's just something simple. And I think this is going to actually, steering away from tipping, I think this is actually going to be a problem later on, when most of the high-paying professions just start to lose candidates because people either are being gatekeeped by ridiculous requirements, or the stress of the job itself or the monotony of it is just boring. People don't want that. So I can kind of see now why there are people out there who are well-educated who decide to just go for simple jobs, and there's nothing wrong with that. But the fact of the matter is, a lot of these simple jobs don't pay enough. And for people who want to argue about the minimum wage, it was originally created to be a livable wage. From what I remember, FDR believed that if you have a business and they cannot afford to pay you enough to live where you're at, it should not be in business. You shouldn't have a business. You should not be allowed to operate, because you are just exploiting someone to the point where they can't survive. So, I guess instead of talking about the negative stuff, I have an interview this coming Tuesday at around 3:30 for another tutoring position. Hopefully this is a full-time position, but if not, if I can at least get 20+ hours a week at this place, I'm just going to quit the smoothie place because it's not really worth it. And on top of that, it's just poorly managed. Like, I feel bad actually for our manager, not the owner, the manager, because he's trying to run and manage 3 different stores or 60 employees by himself. It's soon going to be 4 stores. That's if he doesn't quit. So, and this guy also used to be a teacher. That was surprising. He used to work in education. So, really think about where your schools are going, where your high-paying professions, where your STEM professions are really going, because it seems like a lot of people are just kind of exhausted from it. And I can't say I blame them. I'm one of them. I would like to focus on tutoring, but I don't know if it's going to be a permanent thing. So, I think for now, we'll look for a car today. If If I find one, great. I have a car. Hopefully, I imagine with the car, you have some form of gap insurance, like where you're at least insured partially until you get full coverage. Because right now I'm on my mom's insurance plan, but it's only for her car. So if I get a separate car, I would have to add that onto her insurance plan. So I'm assuming that I have insurance to actually cover the car until I'm actually put on her plan. So we'll see. But yeah, once I get a car, I'm gonna basically just be going to different coffee shops. I'm just gonna go sit down, draw. I'm probably not gonna be home as much, so the videos that I do make will probably be like a couple videos a day, maybe once in the morning, once in the evening. Although then again, I don't think a lot of people care to listen to what I have to say, which is fine. You know, I'm just some random nut job, just making videos to try and ground himself to reality, at least in the hopes that he doesn't do anything rash. By rash, I mean like, you know, what I've talked about in the previous videos, the previous couple videos, so to say. So, you know, anyway, that's something I'm looking forward to. I'm not sure what I would feel once I actually have a car, because now I have the license, I have the car, then I'll have the car. I'll just feel free, like for the first time in my life, truly free. And I think that's a feeling that would probably make me the happiest, because I don't have to worry about anyone's schedule. I don't have to worry about anything. I can plan everything out, down to just the last minute. Which, you know, yeah, sure, I live in the future a lot, but I also like to plan. So, anyway, that's been my little rant, my little awful TED Talk, if you will. So, I'll probably make another video later tonight. After, you know, I've hung out with my friend and we went car shopping and hopefully got a car. There's one car that I'm looking at is a Nissan Altima. It's used, it has around 100k miles. It's about 8,000 for that. And then there's another car, it's also a Nissan. A little bit nicer, it's around 80k miles on there and it's about 12,000. I'm gonna see if I can negotiate these prices down, because that's fucking ridiculous for that. For basically almost getting to the halfway mark for the car's lifespan. No. We'll see though. We'll see if I can negotiate and haggle the price down a bit. You know, I'm not paying the full price though, because that's just ridiculous. So hopefully can negotiate it down. Because I mean, it seems like right now a lot of car dealerships are desperate to get their cars off the lot, because who's buying them? The people who are indebted already? The few people who actually have the funds to do so? I don't know. Anyway, hope you all have a good rest of your day, and I'll talk to you later.